I was born in 1933, and some 9-year-old I used to travel through the country with my mother, and I never got no education.
I was in the road for a long, long time.
And the wee doors, there would be 2 wee doors at the bottom and 2 wee doors at the top, and the wee glass in them. And there would be beds and everything inside them.
If you had a river, you'd use it for washing your clothes. And if you bring back a bucket of clean water, you keep it for drinking and for making your tea and readying your food.
I was to carry 2 children a 3 mile every morning.
Travelling people put in a rough, tough time. They kept good ponies and trained their ponies, and they built their tents. Some of them women was pregnant, and they're talking about sore times. Some of them women lay down in a bed of straw, and the water coming down the road. They survived, brought up good families and big families.
I seen us coming up from Movell, Greencastle, and honest to God, you couldn't count the caravans. I'm doing them all right now, like, you know, I'm keeping myself going, like. But I wish that Jesus was back again at the same time. Honest to God, I would like us back at the same time again. Poor times, but it was good times. Good times. You've seen a lot of fun in it. The best of it. You get a bit of hardships, but you get a bit of good times too. Eh?
I had a child born out there, and one of them, terrible wagon, out there in Stony Batter. That's James, isn't it, Annie? He was born in a wagon.
You just put the pony in, put the harness on the pony, yagged the pony into the caravan, and got to a different town, like, and stay there maybe about a week or so and wait to a different place again. And everything was done like by fire. You had to do your cooking by fire. You had no cooker or no nothing. It used to be better hard in rainy weather. It was all right in good weather. And if the weather got wild, like the food used to get all ashes and all. Naturally enough.
You were healthier, you'd never be sick. I was into children years ago, Paula. There wouldn't be a sock on them. Snow down their Wellingtons and their hands this were with the cold, and they'd never take a flower at.
Now they boil the water outside in big pots and try to get them washed, and same for the clothes. That's the way it was, and then put up a big line, 2 big lines for the clothes, and that's the way it was. There was a wee stove in it then for a wee, you could put on a wee fire, you know. Gas cookers and stuff and all inside in it, you know. But you know, bunk, what they call bunk beds, all bunk beds. And it was all right for them now, you know. It was great for them, you know. But the washing was the worst. You had to go outside and light a fire and trying to put on a couple of big pots and warm the water to wash the clothes.
The only thing heating up the barrel top was the stove. It had to get cold that time. But sometimes you might be 4 miles from a well. You might have to carry it back, go in the horse and cart for the water. You might have to, if it's fresh the weather, you might have to walk to the well. Because the horse, you couldn't bring back the water. The horse wouldn't be able to stand up on the road to fresh. There was hard times, like, but they were good times. But you were used to them and you didn't pass no heed to them. And when you'd wash your clothes, you wouldn't have a line because you wouldn't be long enough in a place to put up a line. You had to spread your clothes in a bush or in somebody's fence and get them dry. Sometimes it wouldn't be dry when you'd be taking them in. In the winter time then you'd have a shelter tent and there'd be all raindrops coming down the trude. And if you put something bright in, you were all chickened with the smoke. Oh, my eyes often got sore with the open. My eyes often got sore trying to light the fire. You know, you were trying to burn sticks. My eyes often got sore.
You cut rods in the wood and you put up your tent. The tents that go now wouldn't allowed. No. Go to the wood and cut your rods again. cut them right length and you had them everywhere you went. But no, the only canvas cover, like, you know, and a bag covering inside of it.
You put the canvas cover over the wattles. It just totally sticks, like, you know. When we'd land, then he would build the tent and all that, and he would go and yet that time you would have to go and get straw sometimes. I didn't like the hay, it was all straw I liked. Well, the one started, heavy one, and it was a bare road. So my father had to get into the shed, no, the caravan was late, and you can follow bar to have a caravan. So we couldn't get the pony because snow and frost and everything in the storm. So he pulled the caravan over to the archway. Stayed in the caravan all night. And the arch saved the caravan.
Went along, we got flooded out completely. Oh, Mother of God. There was a gate behind the camps. I says, I don't care, says I'm taking off this gate at the morning. He got 4 rocks, stones, that will up the gate to make a bed for the children. There was the flood wouldn't come into it.
You'd have no turkey. You'd be lucky if you got an orange or an apple. And the only sweet cakes you did was the cotton cakes that the mothers used to make. That was all we used to have anyway. My mother used to make treacle cakes and corn bread. And we might get an apple or an orange. And we'd just have an orange dinner on Christmas Day. Dinner like you'd have every day. But we'd have no fowl, no turkey. But then for what we used to do St. Stephen's Day, we'd go around to the houses and to the places, and they give us pieces of the turkey that have left over. You know, the settled people. They give us a turkey that have left over. Well, if you won't have a college now and you won't have a convent, they might nearly give you a full turkey. But that, only for that, like I said, I wouldn't eat turkey. I never had fowl myself in my lifetime. But only for that, the children never know if it. Then with Christmas, when it would come before Christmas, I often got, me and my sister used to make flowers. We'll make flowers for 6 weeks. And we'll save all our money up in a cash box. For that 6 weeks, you know how much money we'd have saved up, I remember, maybe £15. But that £15 had a big money at the time. And after all, we'd save it up, we'd give it to our mother.
No, Santa Claus. No, that's not the rabbis. The children would make up 4 faces and it'd be in a cold or no. And they go to the doors, they might have a few pence coming back. And the people they might have sweets. And maybe apples or an orange or something like that. Some of them was very good. But years ago, the wee children, nah.
So then you go to town on Christmas Eve, then and the day before, and you do your bit, like you go beg. You'd have to beg, get your Christmas, like your lack of things for Christmas, but you over Christmas, because there was no money, there was no dole out.
I never went to school much, but I learned all these things in life.
I never got no schooling myself, because wouldn't be long enough in a camp. No, you wouldn't be long enough in a camp to put the children to school, because you might be in 3 places in the 1 week. That's the reason why that in the old generations there's no scholars. We had 2 different schools at least in the 1 week when you were travelling around. And you wouldn't have no friends that way. And half the time you mightn't have no lunch to give to the children. Because there was no dough, there was no money. You'd have to go up begging to the houses for you get hunting for to give them something to eat.
Be lucky if you lack of tea and sugar that time. A piece of bread. Maybe you want to go to school. A piece of that much John. No bother.
Who learned you that trade? That's just done it, you know. Just done it. So later on, he said, would he ask me to do something else? He said, God, he said, that, yeah, you're great at that. I said, aye. He said to me, he said, What school did you go to? I said, now what school were you in? I said, that one here. Oh, you at school there? I said, I was on yesterday's hunting on chairs.
I worked at hay, and I used to work at, you know, when they would cut the corn, you'd have to put them up on wee buns, like, and you tie a thing around them with a straw. I used to do all that.
And I used to make roses, no flowers, and sell them through the houses. No bunches of roses, sell them through the houses. You get a couple of pennies, maybe some bread or milk and potatoes, you know, with the farmers and them, like, you know. Give them a bunch of roses and all. Like. Just make them out of the crypt paper.
We used to make flowers, see these flowers? With mothers, and matter of fact, I made them myself and sold them.
No, I seen my mother doing it, like, and I copied her, like, you know, and I started doing them myself. Got the knack of it then.
And his mother, God rest her soul, she used to make them up there. And she could make the you know, the tin ones, the butterflies and all that on it. And sell all that around the country everywhere. That's what they used to do.
But it was homely as well, you know, when you be out the country, because you meet old farmers coming out of the bogs with the carts of turf. But now you'll see none of that. All you see now is tractors and bulldozers making the turf, cutting the turf. But that time you see all the old men cutting their own turf in the bogs and getting days in carts to bring it home and tribs. It was wild homely, you know.
My father was a tinsmith. All of McGinley's was the generation away back for a long, long time. As long as my father could remember, his father and all of McGinley's, they were tinsmiths. The right name for tinsmith is whitesmith. Now that was a trade they were gifted to. Because in those days in Ireland, it was only the rich had the bowls, you know, had the cups. And McGinley's, it was a big bowl they used to use for drinking tea. So McGinley's made all kinds of tins, from the penny pandy for the children going to school, right through the baths to do the house, to have a bath, tin cans for milking the cows, you know, for the holding the milk. So I sold that through the country, and I also hawked a basket up till I was 16.
Oh, it was a loving, like it was what we lived in, you know. More reared in it, you know. See, there were no plastic, there were no plastic and no, and you might get an old amble bucket and things like that, right? We would carry it out and sell it in the country. There would be no time out in the country to be rid of it. Every house with it on it, but they needed it. They needed pandies for the bog, they needed pandies for, you know, for milking cows, everything like that, you know. I sold them to the country and I sold them in the shops at the one time.
Tin pandies and big ones with a lid on them and different kind of things, you know, people wanted. And they would sell all them. Oh, one time it was all tin things, you know. Now it's different, you know.
One thing that I found out a number of years ago, you'll never get a disease of tin. You won't get a germ. You will have an amber, you will have steel, you will have a cup, but not tin.
No problem with the guards, no. Just depends like where you camp, like. The guards will come to you and say, here, you better move. Tomorrow I'll give you a chance tomorrow, but if you didn't move, they'll summon you then.
Oh, we go miles, we down be Dunlow and we on down be Bunbeg and down that, all down be Fulcara. All them places, not be Dunlewy and round there and everywhere. I know them all them places.
And when we went through the country selling a basket, there were no vans in them days. I used to walk across fields, over hedges, anywhere there was a house, and talk nice to a lady or a gentleman and swap some of the stuff for horse hair or wool, sell it, wash it and sell it in the shops.
Oh, in the summertime, like, we'd maybe leave 4 times in 1 week. Because you jied, like, because you could pull into any place. Anywhere you'd see, you could see a parking place for a bell top wagon, or for you could build a tent, you'd pull into it. Because you'd jied, like, you could leave again next day. You could even leave it nearly at 8 o'clock in the summertime in the evenings. That time the weather used to be good and all, good summers. You could leave anytime, you wouldn't mind, it wouldn't matter. But now you couldn't leave in the summers if you were travelling, because the summers is bad. It's all rain on summers. But there's different things out that time. You might, the way as it is now, you could pull into Clare in the summer, this evening, and you could leave then again in the morning, and you could go back to, say to on and near Cork. You mightn't go the whole way to Cork with horses, like, because it would take you a week to get to Kerry with a horse and cart. You know what I mean? Because you'd have to be begging maybe along the road for your food that you'd eat. You'd have to stand and cook, and you don't know, goes maybe 20, 30 miles in the day. You'd have to give the horses a break as well. You couldn't keep them going like the whole time.
Corridon, 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 ma darling, corridon, da day. Corridon, 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 ma darling.
I worked all my life through Scotland, coal mining, hydro schemes, building sites, and I went into the tunnel work. It was dangerous. The north of Scotland, away up Argyllshire, Inverness-shire, Perthshire, Ross-shire, Caithness. Now it was really rough work, but I was along with these Donegal men, they helped you. But if you were a dosser and lay about and all that, you were on your bike down the road. I done a few months down in Dunmellinton, a Ayrshire coast in Scotland. Then I was moved into Fifeshire, and then I was moved to Port Talbot, South Wales, open cast. the only tunnel ever I knew in the north of Scotland, England, was that big one for the railway. When you're going through a mountain, you're going down roughly about 6 inches a mile, so the water run. So you're starting away at a mountain with, say, muckies, and you're driving through to Balmafay, underneath the ground. Takes years. And you get no air in, only the air's coming in from that side. Say the windy up there. And when we fire the face, that gelatin and all this stuff remains in the tunnel. So you're sucking that all the time. I used to come to the bottom of the shaft, it was 2,000 feet up. It went up on a winch, the skips. Now we call them German skips. That was bringing out the rocks from the face. Comes down maybe about 2,000 feet. So the young boys outside didn't put on the skips, the empty ones coming down right. Instead of putting the safety catch on the top, they put it outside so the skips come on their own, so the winch man couldn't help it. Because he doesn't see none, he's only going to be a bell. So I looked up and it was 7 o'clock in the morning, I knew they were coming too fast. So I started running in the tunnel, and there was a place where they had a big pump lifting the water that was coming down the streams through the tunnel, and I went down into that. And the skip flew over the top of me, ripped up rails, done, broke everything into bits. You could imagine the speed they would be travelling at. That was 6 ton was travelling down a shaft. So they came off the rails when they came to the junction, and I'm lying down in this hole of water about 6 feet. I cannot swim, but I using swimming anyway. And I came up, but the only thing was getting me was electricity running through the water. If they didn't come off the rails and do all that damage, everyone in there would have been killed, broke up to bits. So I was trapped in the dark for 4 hours. So my cousin Johnny was a very good grafter. And he came down, he was crying, and he found me. So me and him walked up the road, up the tunnel, didn't go near the camphor with cases for nothing. Threw away the helmets, went and were walking close home to Glasgow. And went into the first hotel we met and got drunk. That was it.
I wouldn't go back on the road no more. Probably if I was young yet, I'd be still dying for the road, but now at this stage, I wouldn't go back on the road no more. But when I got into the first house too in Gaeltacht, I thought it was a different life, like it's such it was. You had everything, all campaigners. You had your war, everything under your hands, so you had nothing on the side of the road.
That 20 year, well more, about 30 years, I suffered in caravans. Caravans was great, but they were free.
If I'd married the lassie that had the land, my love, it's that I'll rue till the day I die. When misfortune falls, sure no man can shun it. I was a blindfolded, I'll ne'er deny. Now at night, so when I go to my bed of slumber, the thoughts of my true love run in my mind. When I turn around to embrace my darling, instead of gold, sure 'tis brass I find. And I wish the Queen would call home her army from the West Indies, America and Spain, and every man.
They were happy days to me. I would Supposing you give me the nicest hotel today in Kenny, I'll sooner be living in my boat top caravan. Now, to be honest, and there's no use in beating about the bush. That's how I feel.
The old ways are changing, you cannot deny. The day of the traveller's over. There's nowhere to go and there's nowhere to bide. So farewell to the life of a rover. Farewell to the tent and the old caravan. To the tinker, the gypsy, the travelling man. And farewell to the 30-foot trailer. Farewell to the cant and the travelling tongue. Farewell to the Romany talking. The buying and selling, the old fortune telling, the knock on the door and the hawking. Farewell to the tent and the old caravan. To the tinker, the gypsy, the travelling man. And farewell to the 30-foot trailer. You've got to move fast to keep up with the times, for these days a man cannot donder. There's a bylaw to say you must be on your way, and another to say you can't wander. Farewell to the tent and the old caravan. To the tinker, the gypsy, the travelling man. And farewell to the 30-foot trailer. Farewell to the besoms of heather and broom. Farewell to the creel and the basket. For the folks of today, they would far sooner pay for a thing that's been made out of plastic. Farewell to the tent and the old caravan. To the tinker, the gypsy, the travelling man. And farewell to the 30-foot trailer. Farewell to the pony, the cob and the mare. Why, the reins and the harness are idle. You don't need a strap when you're breaking up scrap. So farewell to the bit and the bridle. Farewell to the tent and the old caravan. To the tinker, the gypsy, the travelling man. And farewell to the 30-foot trailer. Farewell to the fields where we've sweated and toiled, at pulling and showing and lifting. They'll soon have machines and there's travel in coins, and the menfolk had better be shifting. Farewell to the tent and the old caravan. To the tinker, the gypsy, the travelling man. And farewell to the 30-foot trailer.